right, we're live. Hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We're playing Alien, and we're pushing up right against the go live button in all sorts of fun and dangerous ways. Okay, so yeah, we're back. It's been a while. I forget how to do this, so you saw our faces like just a bit too soon, but everything's fine. Let's just dive in because we got stuff to get to. Oh, and all of you should have like a new level up thing. So why don't you tell us what you took as we do our little intro. So who are you? Who are you playing? And what did you do with the XP that you just got for nearly blowing up this relay station that we're in? So we'll start with Mama Bear. We got Melissa.
Master Sergeant Margot Barrett. I am theoretically in charge, often stressed, run away, hide under things, and whatnot. I decided last session that you people better stop freaking asking me if you need to turn right or left because you all have brains in your heads and you can figure that damn stuff out yourself. And since I was sitting at 1 health, I thought I would take the tough talent and give myself a couple extra health points.
Not all of us have brains.
Well, circuitry, brains, whatever you think with, use
You
it.
have a brain, just synthetic. That's all. It's still a brain. Still a brain. Oh, what were we talking about? Claymore? We were talking about Claymore. Sorry, my bad. I missed that. Yeah. Anyway, I told Melissa that like if she wants to get everybody to do I'm like, just shoot one of them, and all you gotta do is shoot one of them. You shoot one of them, and the rest of them will fall in line. Everything's great, right?
It's true.
It's
absolutely true.
To leadership and team building.
Yep. Speaking of other leadership, the next highest ranking officer we have in the crew is Chuck. Chuck, who are you playing?
That's me. I'm Chuck. I'm playing Staff Sergeant Eric Koenig. And I also like to run away and hide under things and tell people about how fantastic my ex-wife is not. And yeah, I spent my experience also on toughness because there was that first arc where I was just hovering on 1 health the entire time. I'd like to prevent that from happening again. So yeah.
That's where I am right now. Is that 1 health?
Oh yeah.
Place you were speaking of.
Yeah.
That's where I am.
Yeah, that was when Koenig got Temple of Doom by a synth. Over and around. It was pretty great.
It was unpleasant.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm remembering your ex-wife's name was mentioned before. It was Karen, right? We figured that.
Yes.
Karen Koenig. Perfect.
Yes, it was Karen Koenig. Now it's Karen Spawn of Satan McAllister or something like that. I don't remember what her maiden name is.
Back to her maiden name. Spawn of Satan is her maiden name.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's quite the middle name.
It is. Yeah. It is.
Yeah. Someone must not have liked her. So next up, the top row tends to be what I did with the overlay is everyone's in order based upon like where their hierarchy is in the squad, and so like third in command, so to speak, is our Comtech Marine. We got Jen. Tell us about Ripper.
Oh, I'm just the most amazing Comtech wizard of all time. That's why I roll and don't really get anything on my die. It's just so Sergeant Zoe Ripper, really efficient and effective, and now I've got second winds for my new talent. That'll make me
what
feel
does
better.
that do? What does second wind do?
When you're broken, you can get back up on your feet immediately without anyone giving you first aid.
Nice. Yeah. That's very good. Very good. I'm sensing a pattern. We got extra health, and then extra life. It's basically where things are going. No one's trying to be better at negotiation or diplomacy. No one's just trying to. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I have a feeling though, like you're asking, so you know what to bypass and like what arms to rip off later.
Well, I mean, we know which arms to rip off. We rip off Matt's arms, like it's how it is. And we go. Oh, that's right. It's the first time we've played since we got the new emote. We have the severed arm emote in our Twitch channel now. I'm not sure what tier it is for, but like we've got it now. It's inspired by me ripping off Matt's arms. So yeah, there it is. There it is. Yay. Okay, so let's go to the bottom row. We've got Adam. Adam, tell us about Abbott.
Well, Abbott is an artificial person, and I have recently acquired a new talent. I decided that with how well everyone was dealing with the amounts of stress, I decided that someone with the subroutines and programs on human empathy should take the talent of counselor. I'm sure they will all listen to what I have to say.
It would have
Especially
been really
Claymore.
funny if you picked the banter one. Just
Oh, I may
similar
still.
effect would have been funny.
I may still. Yeah.
Oh, I want the buddy cop TV show of Abbott and Claymore after this. Just like the two of them. It's so great. Fantastic. All right. Next up, we got Matt. Matt, who are you? Who's Spuds? Tell us about
Donald
Spuds.
Spuds McKenzie. And I'm the eyes and ears of this here crew. What did I take? I took fast reflexes because I'm always caught up front getting shot by them turrets, and I don't like it.
That's fair. That's fair. You're a Ford Observer, right? Like that's what Spuds was?
Yeah, I'm Ford Observer.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Take 2. He's Hutch Part 2. Hutch 2.0. Something
Yeah.
like that.
But
Yeah.
he's
Okay.
got both of his arms.
He's got both of his arms.
For now.
For now. For now. He just jinxed it. He really did. There's so many arms in chat right now. Okay. And then finally, we've got the brains of the organization. We've got Claymore. So tell us about Claymore, Jeremy.
Going to be playing Corporal Heckler, AW Claymore. I'm here to do whatever Mom Bear says, and even though I might be the lowest man here, I'm a power bottom, so I'm very supportive. And of course, given the explosive nature of our last session, I decided to max out my ranged combat. I can't keep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's. Thank you, Jeremy. All right. Let's go ahead and let's get started. Let's do a summary of what happened most recently. So, the Hammerheads, which is the squad's sort of nickname, you all followed a deep space signal that was sent to sent by these renegade synths that you got rid of on GL488A, which was a factory moon for Hyperdyne. That was the first kind of mission that involved the Marines. You followed this signal out into deep space, heading trailward just past the 20 parsec limit, which means it's like outside sort of network area. That's where you discovered a old Hyperdyne Corp station that was kind of adrift in space. But upon further investigation, it was actually somewhat functional because crawling throughout the station were a bunch of utility androids, maintenance jacks, service kits, things like that. Those are just my own flavor on like a working Joe android, basically. But they have some extra functionality to them. And they were immediately hostile to you all. And there were defenses that were set up across the station, turrets, like Matt was saying before. And they also seem to be in the process of like refurbishing or repairing several areas of the station. As you were exploring, you found a lot of weird stuff. You found some human brains. Sometimes they were staged in these sort of horrific displays. There was this one kind of almost like puppeteered Last Supper type imagery going on inside the mess hall. There were others that were in the bunks. You also found a bunch of graffiti that seemed to suggest like this weird matriarchal kind of religious stuff going on. And you found some samples of extrasolar flora and fauna, one of them being a fairly complex and violent organism that we all know are neomorphs, but the characters don't know that, within a med pod, strapped down, being constantly healed. It would smash his head against the inside of the med pod and immediately get stitched back up. You found a collection of bird-like eggs that were encased in these little sample containers that shot out some small little spores, but luckily it was encased. No one breathed those in. You should. It'd be fun. What else? You found a bunch of metallic urns that were filled with black and white goo. So some that had black, some that had white. And on the bridge, you encountered a synth that had been kind of cut open, splayed apart, almost like it had these like wings, these cables running out from its back, connecting to these various receptacles within the room of the bridge. and kind of was likely the one that was controlling some of the systems, shooting the camera at you guys, arcing electricity at a console, stuff like that. They seem to just be built directly into the various systems. Claymore and Spuds nearly killed everybody, which is pretty great. Claymore shot his rocket launcher right off the bat. Spuds let go of her grenade, and lo and behold, that synth got blown out into space. A bunch of other people got blown out into space, other synths that showed up to reinforce. You all managed to survive. What's
I
up?
would like to point out that the largest loss of that entire situation
That's right.
was my sniper rifle.
That's
Got
true. I
vented.
had forgotten about that. Now I'm glad you mentioned it because I had
So
forgotten.
sad.
Yeah, lost that. But otherwise, everyone survived because you guys kept grabbing each other, etc., etc., etc. And so somehow you all survived. So we are, yeah, and that's going to be very difficult. I would say you probably don't have a second one of those. That's such a very specialized weapon. There's plenty of other, I would say, default like assault rifles and things, like really standard issue things, but yours is just so special.
It is.
That's
It
a shame.
hurts.
That's a shame. Okay. So let's go ahead and start up then. We'll say, let's just kind of start up where we left off. Should we just do that? I think we can just do that. Let's get a little music going and see if that works. Never
We're
does.
still holding on for dear life.
I'm going to say, just for the sake of moving things along, we'll say that decompression has eventually subsided, and you all now are within the blown out section of the bridge. You can see that the kind of the starboard side is just completely blown out. There are still many consoles and other equipment that are here. A lot of them have been damaged by some of the explosiveness. But you have all managed to adhere yourselves to various anchor points. You remember that when you came in, a bulkhead dropped behind you. It was almost as if like trapping you here. So how are we getting out of this? You all are on comms too, so don't forget. You can still communicate. You're on comms.
Is
We
everyone
still need to
okay?
get to one of the consoles. I mean, we came here to try to get some
Yeah.
information, so
That was our whole operational point, is getting down here and getting information out of the computer systems.
we didn't come here to blow the windshield out. We did it. Now we got to deal with it.
Yeah.
But
Good.
ends justify the means.
Thank you, ma'am. Sorry.
And yeah, I'd rather be without my rifle than dead, so little wins help cover the crushing loss of a loved one getting sucked out into the void of space.
We'll find you an armory. We'll find you something.
Thoughts and
Um,
prayers.
On that note, I guess I'm gonna go plug into one of these consoles here.
Okay. So the main, one of the main consoles, which is what the creature, the synth, was attached to, that one's destroyed. But there's all these other sub consoles here, and they're likely they are each geared to a particular system. You probably all have enough air. Like we haven't really been doing supply rolls for oxygen, and I'm cool with not doing it unless you'd all decide that you're spending extensive time. So we'll kind of play that by ear as we go. But for now, we'll say you're inside. Ripper, you kind of move over towards one of these consoles. You are all there's no atmosphere here, so there's limitations to what you're going to be able to get on this. Unfortunately, that is the downside of blowing this place up, is that it's harder to access that info. But if you want, roll a comm tech as you try to dig into one of the consoles that hasn't been permanently destroyed. Okay.
Okay.
It's 3 successes. Now, what would Ripper? What kind of information would Ripper want to dig into? What do you think?
I forgot the ship's name. It's not
The Asteria, the USS Asteria.
Asteria. Thank you.
Okay.
Looking into the Asteria, maybe trying to find something about these weird experiments they're doing,
Okay.
but not taking too long.
Okay. So you can pull up a quick kind of docking manifest. You can see which by serial number, which ships have kind of docked and left within the past 30 days. From what you can tell, like the system seems to sort of flush that out. And so over the past just around 30 days or a little over 4 weeks, there have been 6 different vessels that have come in contact with this station. And one of them was, in fact, the USS Asteria. And it was roughly 2 weeks ago. You do find other ships as well. Again, just the serial numbers. You don't really, you're doing this fast, so you're just kind of getting the list. But you do find that there's one other ship that the name sounds familiar. It's the Radamanthus, which was one of the other ships that was suspected of being overtaken by these synths, but it was like more of a cargo vessel. There's also a couple others. There's the Oko, the Gorgas, and I'll give you the list later. The Strabo and the Pythias. So there's 6 different ships, but 2 of them you recognize immediately.
This ain't good, Sarge. Looks like there's been 6 ships here.
And where did they go when they left here?
Well, let me see if I can find out.
Okay.
Boop, boop, boop.
You got 3 successes. So I was going to say you're going to get 2 other bits of information. So if that's one of them, you find what look to be coordinates deeper trailward. Further trailward into deep space, even further, about into a system roughly 2 parsecs away. And it seems as though several of these ships either were headed towards or coming from those coordinates. So you have the coordinates. I'm not going to give you the numerical, but you have them. So yeah.
Well,
And
then I'm gonna rattle off the coordinates to her like I really know.
Yeah, go
what's
ahead.
going on.
Sure. Let's see what those are. Go ahead, Jen. I'll write those down.
52.5. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a really long. It's almost
It's
like
really long.
pi. I'm just rattling
Exactly.
it off. Like, oh, I went to the 100th digit here. It's over there.
And you've got one more piece of information. Since you had 3 successes, so if you want one more piece of information, you got a list of ships that have docked and then you've got where they've originated from or gone to. But I give you one more piece of information if there's something that you're looking for.
Special cargo, or if there's any information on if they've taken over a person or look like something else. 'Cause, they were the people that got taken that weren't people anymore. They were
No, you don't have nothing like that. So think of this basically just sort of default information that would be in systems logs or station logs, things like that. So that's kind of what you're accessing now. So you can
cargo number of people or number of passengers rather.
Yeah, you can get some of that. You can get sort of the default for the USS Asteria. It was so that you have the listed default 40 personnel. It has room for 40, and then there's additional 12 people that are service staff. That's what's officially listed, but it didn't check it in. There's no customs or anything like that to kind of count heads. You know that the Radamanthus. Okay, I'll say this. Okay. You would know from kind of digging through this that there are 1, 2, 3 separate Weyland-Yutani funded vessels. You would know that there's 1 Hyperdyne Corp and there's 1 LaSalle Bionational. And so you can kind of dig into some, if you wanted to, if you could get back onto network or something like that, you could potentially look these ships up, their serial numbers, and potentially find out who's actually on those ships. You could do that, but it's not something you could do from this console.
Okay.
Okay, so while Ripper was doing that, digging into this, what were the rest of you doing? Because again, you guys are still outside the ship, or excuse me, outside the atmosphere, giant hole in the wall of the station. What were the rest of you doing?
Kind of I am sorry about your loss.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, but we can't dilly-dally around here too long.
Ah, I understand. A pragmatic approach. But how does that make you feel?
Not good, not good.
Hmm. Tell me
Part of
more
my
about
soul
that.
has been ripped out, thrown into the void of space. It feels like the last time I saw my ex-wife, because she was coming after my shit too.
You know, I can't help but notice you talk about your ex-wife an awful lot. It seems
Well,
like you have a lot of
trauma.
unresolved.
They call it trauma.
Yes. Yes, as if you've experienced quite a bit of trauma. And sometimes in new traumatic experiences, we do go back to those old traumatic experiences as well. Tell me, what was the name of your ex-wife?
Listen, there's one thing I learned, and that's if you speak the name of the devil, she just might show up. So I'd rather keep that under my hat until we are in a secure locations and I have plenty of firearms to back myself up.
Very well. We will simply refer to the ex-wife as the ex-wife.
Yeah,
Noted.
that's how I do it.
Well, that's all the time that we have for right now. So I'd like to use my counselor trait on him.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Yeah, we do, Veronica. Things have been we've had some ideas, but we'll add some soon. I'll put Ashley on it. She did the emotes so well, so now we'll put her on other things. Okay. You don't have to roll anything for that, do you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
I was looking at it and
Command. Okay.
oh, yeah, I can reduce his level of stress by 1
Okay.
once per turn. So I talk with Koenig because I see that he was distraught about losing his gun.
Very much so.
So
That's awesome.
after that happens, Barrett is gonna be like, "So Abbott, I appreciate a gun is an important, feature for all of us, but I'm not feeling so good, and I could kind of use some help if you're done, helping him with the feelies, feeling better about that
Yes.
gun loss.
How does that make you feel?
Sore. I'm fucking sore.
Yes. You mean you need physical attention, as in you are wounded.
I don't remember what happened, but I just imagine him like gushing blood, and you're just like, "Let me make you feel better about losing your gun," and I'm like, "Son of a bitch, can you just shut up and get over here?"
Didn't you get like that nasty electric shock too?
Maybe that's what it was, like twitching or something.
Yeah, I'll go and give medical aid.
So you guys are in suits right now.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that makes sense that you could actually. The counselor thing's totally fine. That's all on comms. I don't know if you could potentially do that because you can't actually access her stuff
right
yet.
now.
So let's hold off on that.
Right now, Master Sergeant Margaret Barrett, we are in a vacuum, and as soon as we are not in a vacuum, then I can see to your wounds. However, I think that I would see all of your wounds, including new ones, if we were to expose you to the vacuum.
Well, thank you for always being nice and logical. And she's gonna yell out to everybody, like, "What else are we doing in here?"
Well, we got our data, right? There's nothing else that we needed to recover. We learned what we needed to learn. What the hell? I don't even remember anymore what our objectives were. I'll check my notes here.
Oh yeah, that handout's in there too. Ripper, you would think there's probably more to this. It's just a matter of the main console just got blown into space, and so you're just kind of grabbing whatever you can. There's probably more stuff elsewhere. If you got to engineering, for instance, you could probably access everything pretty easily from there. If there's a mother room anywhere on here, and you can hack into that, you might be able to see what the computer might have had as well. Those are two other options. Claymore and Spuds, what were you doing throughout this whole time?
Hypothetically, pretend I was an overgrown man-child and I wanted to take a trophy, and I looked around for a piece of one of those wings. Do I find one?
Sure. Yeah. You can see there's this long kind of glossy cable that's been ripped partially in half, that's dangling from one of the receptacles that had been adhered to the ceiling where this thing was attached to. Yeah, you can snatch that.
Excellent.
Gross.
I'm gonna work on attaching that angel wing piece to my shield.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Spuds, what about you?
Yeah. Were there other rooms on the east and west of
Yeah.
where we were at, where we had this fight? Okay.
Yes,
I'd like to
there
go
are other
to
doors. Yeah,
the door on the left. We're always going left, right? Is that the plan?
yeah, that's fine.
And I'd like to observe. Try to listen. I know we're in suits. I know we got the vacuum space, so I'm sure it's not going to be that easy. But you know, I don't want to just walk in a room blind. This is what I do. I want to check it
Absolutely.
out before we go in there.
Absolutely. Roll observation.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you're fine. Keeping it together. So we'll say that this window is an interior. This door is an interior door. It's an exterior door, but it had been an interior door, right? And so you can see that there's a small little cutout where you can kind of look through. And you can see that on the other side of it, this is the opposite direction. Like, because you all came through. You know, if we're thinking about map sense of it, you came the south, and now you're going off to the west, basically. And you can see that there is supposed to be you think there's supposed to be a second door, like about a good 10 feet down, like in this sort of tunnel area. It looks like on the left and the right, there is some kind of machinery that's been stacked up. But you can see that the door on the far end has been ripped open. And so if you were to open this door, you would possibly be venting atmosphere out of this path. It's possible. It's possible everything's fine, but you can't kind of tell whether or not like this is under atmosphere. But you don't see any signs of a turret or any synths or anything like that.
Synths? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll wait till he's done before we move on.
Okay. All right. So at this point, I think Ripper, you probably got all you feel you can get out of this console. But if you would think if you can get to, you know, like the mother room or like the engineering, you might be able to dig into more. And you do have a general schematic, I think, of the station now. So you kind of generally know how to move around now. What do you all want to do? How are you all getting back on to the into the interior of the station?
Well, I mean, if we were looking at that door there, we buckle ourselves down and we pop the hatch and let the atmosphere vent, and we just moving around in vacuum for the rest of the mission. That gets us inside. You know, if we're still need to dig up data, go find that mother room, because if they're talking about mother's knows best or whatever the hell it was, that might be the thing to do. And honestly, I mean, what's the worst that happens? We do this and we accidentally blast a few more of them bastards out into space.
I do have an alternative idea.
I mean, all ears.
We open the door to one room. It does blow whatever pressure is out into the vacuum of space. Then once we're inside this room, we shut the door behind us. We are still in a vacuum until we open the next door.
Sounds like sound science, I think.
All right.
Melissa says, questioning.
All right, but if you get me killed, I'm going to kill you.
So
Very
you're,
well.
so you're ripping open this
Accept it.
door, letting it vent, going inside, and then closing the door back behind you. Did I understand that right?
Yeah, so we should be in a vacuum, but when we
Mhm.
open the door, the next door, then yeah, it may be even a little rough then, but
Okay.
eventually it'll even out
Yeah.
in pressure.
No, that makes perfect sense. Okay, Claymore, you're usually the breacher. Go ahead and roll a heavy machinery to try to
All right.
bust this door open.
And if I've got that, if I'm using the torch, is that like a +2, I think?
So I think the torch, though, the problem with using the torch is that I think the torch
Mm.
would have, would rip it open, and you're trying to open it without damaging the door. So I
Cool,
would
cool.
say that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you need
totally.
assistance, dear friend?
Fine. Thank you very much for your assistance.
Really touches my heart cockles to see you two getting along so well.
I don't want you to talk about cockles whenever we're working together. There's no cockling between us.
Have we ever not gotten along?
No, we've never gotten along.
Oh, stress. Oh no.
Yeah, go ahead and roll stress. Okay, you're fine. So everyone, I would say you kind of time. I mean, everyone probably locks themselves in somewhere in case there's any loose debris that's flying out, and there is. So what I'll say is everybody go ahead and make like a mobility test to hang on as debris starts flying out at you. You're not really in danger of kind of getting thrown out into space, but you are potentially in danger of getting hit by something.
I got 2, so I got a spare success if someone needs it.
Yeah, that'll
I
do.
think I do. I'm trying to scroll back up.
I got
Yeah,
Somebody got like
0.
3.
Claymore and Abbott failed. Everybody else passed. But
Spud's
there were
got 3.
there were enough extra successes between Koenig and Spuds.
Who
that you
needs
could-
rescuing?
All right. So you open the door. Stuff starts flying out. Some of the machinery you saw on the other side, Spuds was not anchored down, so it just flies out immediately as it's coming right towards Claymore. You manage to grab him at the last second as this chunk comes in, hits kind of the central console, and then flies out into space. A few more things, odds and ends, start flying out. Some debris. You see a body just slam back and forth against the wall. You couldn't tell if it was a synth or a human. It didn't look like one of the synths, but it also didn't look alive. Kind of bounces off some of the walls and then out into space. Happens again. You see like 2 or 3 bodies kind of start venting out in this area, but eventually things stabilize. You're able to move inside, close the door behind you, and you are in an area that still doesn't have atmosphere, but at the very least it's not exposed to space. You start moving up a little further, and you can see that the kind of debris that you've seen elsewhere, like where it's kind of torn up, it's the same thing here. It's just the difference is that there's nothing really loose anymore. But you can see that there is all sorts of all sorts of stuff like hanging down from the ceilings, these cables and things. You can see that there's like what looks like panels that have been removed from some of the walls here and there. You can see that there is one of those service kits that are like almost spider-like in their gangliness that had tried to grab on to this metal stud in the wall, but kind of just bifurcated itself as it got exploded outward. And so you can see it's just flopping around like a fish on the ground. Easy enough. Claymore comes up, just drops the shield on top of it. But otherwise, you can see that similar to what you've seen before, kind of like a T-section room. One like the top right part of the T goes back into the bridge. You can kind of go forward, or you can make a left.
Left.
Okay. You hang a left, and you get back to what looks like that similar intersection room that you saw before when you first came up from the stairs, since you've kind of backtracked yourselves into where you were before. If looking at your map, looking at what you have here, you think that there's one flight down. There's a potentially a mother console room, and then 2 flights down is engineering, and then I think it's 3 flights down you can get to other turret control.
Let's get to the mother room so I can actually take a rest.
Back that up. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm assuming, unless you tell me otherwise, that Spuds and Claymore are always out in front.
Yep.
Okay.
I need to make observation or stealth or anything.
Roll stealth, yeah. Okay.
I'll stay with that.
Yeah, that's
One.
fine. Mobility is good. Yeah, that's fine. So you lead up ahead. You kind of go down what looks like a hatch that just kind of moves down to the next level, or you can take the stairs, kind of leads to the same place. But eventually you are in kind of a fairly narrow hallway, and you can see there's sort of a four-way intersection. But up ahead, you do see the familiar signs of like a mother door. It has MU/TH/UR on the like kind of caked onto the wall itself. But you notice that something has scratched through it, and you can see what looks like claw marks that have just been ripped across it, as if it's like as if it was trying to like cross out the wording itself. Spuds, you're up front. You also notice on one of the walls as you're moving down this intersection, there is another one of those kind of crude sort of cave painting like images, like drawn in what you think might be oil. It looks like, again, like an ancient like cave painting from Earth, like the Venus symbol, like no head, but kind of like the female form. But you also notice that surrounding it all are all these like expressionless humanoid faces, like these kind of dark sunken eyes and these just flat mouths, and that are all just sort of surrounding it in some strange way. When you get a little closer, you notice that those faces have, unlike the Venus symbol, have been carved, like literally carved into the metal of the wall, similar to the mother door up ahead.
I don't like the looks of this. Maybe we should go elsewhere.
We need to gather as much information as we can.
As you wish.
Okay. You can try to comtech hack this door open. You would, all of you would know that to get into a room like this, you have to have, an access. So you can try to hack yourselves in, comtech. You can try to force yourselves in, but you're not entirely sure what the other side of this door's condition is. So it's up to you. So it's either like kind of a Ripper roll or a Claymore roll here, probably.
Want me to try to use my key instead of yours?
I always say let's try the science first, and if that doesn't work, then we go brute force.
Sounds like a plan.
There you go.
Ooh.
Okay. This is actually fairly simple. It doesn't take very long at all. As you pop it open, and you hear as the door slides. It's dark on the other side, but right when the door opens, you can see lights on the consoles begin to light up. All these, like this vast array in the whole room. And you immediately see that in addition to all these lights, there is just an explosion of viscera in the middle of the room. The seat that kind of curves and sits underneath the console itself has been ripped off its axis. You can see a body is on the ground. With some terrible trauma to its chest. It's just laying there on the ground.
Well, I got the door open. I'm not going in.
Yeah, everyone can go ahead and at the sight of this, go ahead and roll, or go ahead and add +1 to your stress. Excuse me.
Yeah.
No,
Yay,
nothing to roll. Just
more
+1 to
stress.
Just used to saying roll sand. Say, roll sand. No. Wrong game. But yeah, you can see the console looks partially damaged, but looks to be mostly intact. But there's, again, it's just like something exploded within here.
Well, who's going in with me?
We'll go in.
Send our two, combat specialists in. We'll put it like that. It'll be nice.
Okay.
There.
I also accept the meathead.
Okay, whoever's going in. So it's a small room. A mother room is not very big. It's mainly just a series of computers that's semicircle around like a singular spot. 2 people can probably get in here. Maybe even 3 can squeeze. But because there's already somebody in here, laying on the ground, partially destroyed, we'll say 2 of you go in. Both of you can roll observation as you step inside.
How's a terrible choice for this?
Oh my gosh, Jed, you have so much stress right now.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't need agility. This is fine.
Koenig, Spuds, as you're standing outside the door watching the two of them go, and you immediately you see them like kind of recoil, and then you see their arms kind of shake a bit, their weapons kind of lower. Claymore and Ripper, as you look down, you notice that the body that's on the ground, there's a massive chest wound, just enormous. And you also notice on the ground underneath the console, there is something hidden in the dark, some kind of like some small, maybe the size of an arm. Something's down there. It's kind of covered in blood. Nothing in here seems to be moving. The blood itself also seems to be dry. Like this hasn't happened. This did not happen recently. But there's something like dark and underneath the console there that you can't quite make out. You flash down, look at your flashlight, and you can't quite make it out. Nothing's moving though. But Koenig and Spudge, you see them start to have their trembles and everything.
There's something weird in here.
Something down there.
Describe weird. What do you see?
It's a tiny little member on the floor.
Member? Like a ding-a-ling?
Yeah, it's about this big. Normal size, right? I don't know. It's creepy. It's down underneath. I can't really get a good look at it.
What the hell are you talking about?
I don't know. The body, there's like a giant hole in the chest, and this is old blood, and there's something down over there.
Are you afraid to look at it?
I'm afraid to
Yes,
look
ma'am.
at it.
If you want me to get down there and look at it, I'll look at it.
You said nothing's moving.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you
Spirit's
scoop
in
it
a
up
lot
on
of
your
pain right
shield?
now and really wants to get healed and is like, just let's clear this shit out of here.
All right. We'll pull the
I'm
body
so
out of the way.
stressed out. I have the
Okay.
giggles. It's awful.
Take a deep breath and kind of have my combat knife in front of me,
Okay.
fearful that this member is going to come straight at my face.
You got the combat knife. You reach your arm in. Take a point of stress for this, Claymore, as you pull whatever this is out, and you realize that it's maybe about 2.5 feet long. But as you pull it out into the light, with a start, you realize that this is not an arm. This is not like, this is just some pale creature with no eyes and a huge mouth that hangs limply in your hand. Go ahead and roll panic, Claymore.
Ah, no, God damn it.
Your hand starts to shake and it just falls down to the ground. But now you all can see it. You see it's maybe 2.5 feet long. It doesn't seem to be moving or alive. It's coated in blood. It's kind of this pale, kind of almost like a light tannish color. It's got no eyes, this bulbous head, and it's got these little tiny teeth, but they're quite impressive. But you can kind of pick it up almost like it's a small cat, without any hair on it, without any eyes, but it doesn't seem to be moving or functioning whatsoever.
And we see its appendage, like it's curled up, right? But we see its appendages, or
well, when he picks
is
it
just
up,
like a
he kind of
mass?
holds it up
Okay.
and he drops it. Yeah, it just falls to the ground and it's kind of splayed out in kind of a random position. But it's got arms, it's got legs, it's got a tail. It's discolored and it's nothing that any of you have seen before. But it sort of has some similarities to what you saw in the med pod, but not quite. The head is different. Like, the head just looks different. The coloring looks different. But it's similar the way that like a gorilla and like a chimpanzee look similar.
Okay, that's it. Nothing else to see here. I think I'm going to leave the room now.
Is it dead?
Take
Important
it with
question.
you.
Poke it with your knife.
He looks over at Mama Bear.
It's still not moving, right? I don't understand.
No, it's not moving.
Can I
Well,
take his
then.
knife and like shove it into the ground
Hell
and make sure
yeah.
it's pinned? Because like
You grab the knife.
I've about
you
had enough
stab
with this
down.
thing.
And you see like a small little explosion of like this sort of greenish yellow goo just sort of erupts from the torso that as you stab the knife through it. You see a little bit like drop down on the ground and begin to sizzle for like momentarily, and then eventually as it eats away at a couple inches worth of the floor panel comes to a stop. You look at the knife is starting to wobble as it sits there, and you realize it after like a good 15, 20, 25 seconds, it just kind of falls over, and you realize that whatever you stab, the blade is just kind of eaten away. And all you have is like a little bit of the stump of the blade and then the hilt. You can go ahead and delete your combat knife, Claymore.
The hell is this bullshit?
I'll get you another one. I'm gonna plug in. We need to get out of here.
Well, see, we needed to do that so that now we know that those have some acid thing inside. If you didn't do that, we wouldn't have known. So
This is
this is what we
really,
have to do.
this is fascinating.
You're welcome.
Here we got Abbott sounding like a scientist and stuff. Boop, boop, boop. I'm plugged in. I'm just trying to find
Okay.
the information as fast as possible.
Slide
All
the
the
body
things.
out of the chair. It's like, and you just
I'm
sit
not
down.
sitting there. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. You don't. You
no.
just stand over
Yeah,
top of it.
I'm standing.
Plug in. Start hacking through it. Okay. So while Ripper is digging into the mother console, what are the rest of you doing?
Barrett's going to
We-
look over to Abbott to try to get some healing now that we've in a place.
Okay.
I'm just keeping watch.
And is the plan to post up in here? That's what Barrett wants.
This room definitely would not fit all of you. It's a. I know Melissa doesn't remember from Alien, but it's the mother room specifically is a room that's just like an old 1960s computer. It's like a huge computer. There's a bunch of lights, and there's like one seat, and usually only one, maybe two people go into it at a time. It's not a very big room. So yeah, Matt's got it in the background there. I don't think all six of you could hole up in here in a comfortable way.
No,
I'm
but
done
we've got to
with this
make sure
room.
that Ripper can get some information and everybody else get her back.
Okay.
Keep an eye out.
Okay. So Koenig he's spotting up. Claymore,
I'm gonna do the same.
okay, so Spuds, Koenig are spotting up. Ripper is on the console. Abbott, I think, is healing Barrett. Claymore, you're the only one not accounted for. What do you want to do?
I'm getting out of that room and just keeping an eye out, maybe listening to my headphones for a little bit to try and chill out some.
Okay.
Claymore,
What do you want? Could deal with Mama Bear.
while I'm dealing with Mama Bear, perhaps you could just keep an eye out and see if there are any containers made from plastic.
Sounds like a reasonable request. But I'm suspicious. Do it anyways.
What? Oh, you're wondering about why? I wish to take this thing back. It is dead. I'm sure that they would want to study it.
Stupid rational toaster brain. Guess
I
I'll
know.
look for
I'll go
something
ahead and-
plastic.
I'll go ahead and perform medical aid.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, so Ripper, you start digging in. You got 3 more successes. So let's say a couple other things you can get. So you've already got coordinates of what apparently is referred to, at least in the database, this is null 256, which is what these synths seem to refer to wherever it is like the other ships were kind of coming and going from. But you also found additional signals. Like this station has been communicating with multiple places. Koenig had already discovered that there was communication between this station and Anchor Point Station. But as you're digging into this now, you're able to find that there's been communications coming and going for months now from this relay station to a variety of other relatively noteworthy locations. One of which is Liberty Echo Naval Base. There's you recognize GL488A, which is the Hyperdyne Corporation factory that you guys were on already. There's some kind of station whose name that you're not familiar with, Biles Station, and in a system in the far reach. A lot of places in the far reach of the American Arm. 2 colonies are listed: Heaven's Joy and Tanaka 5. Various like empty rocks, and which you think it's probably communicating with ships, because you're uncertain, like there's no systems that are kind of like locked in there. But then you also notice the Solomons, which is where you all have spent some time in training, which is again in the far reach of the American Arm, which is kind of the trailward side of the big spiral heavens of Alien. So yeah, you have a ton of locations where this station has been communicating messages, is what you have, Ripper.
And it feels like we're all on our own against a network.
Their reach is very far. That's so Ripper, the communication is coming from this ship out to all of those places?
The station. Okay.
And
so you
it
had
still
3
ongoing?
successes, right?
Like it's something that we can like sabotage?
The last communication sent was yesterday. No communications have been sent today. Ripper, you do notice, by the way, that there was an attempt at communication that was trying to be sent from where you're at within the last 2 hours since you've been crawling through this place, but it did not seem to make its way out. So you're confident that your presence here was not alerted to anybody else. With 3 successes, though, you get some other things too. You have basically a search history of the mother network, of like the mother database, like various key terms that pop up. So you see what looks like construction plans for, like you see this whole laundry list of construction plans for helium-3 mining stations, which is fuel basically. You see what looks like schematics for a Lockmart orbital shipyard, just like Lockheed Martin. You see a bunch of locations for various factories that produce security and sensor buoys, all throughout the what's it called? The central space. You see information on a ship called the Affiance, which you know is a colony ship that disappeared decades ago. You see a bunch of weird terms weird names for things that you probably never heard of before. Again, I'll give you a whole list of this. Like, I don't expect you to memorize all of it, and I'm not even saying all of it's important. But you see, it almost looks like Latin or some weird naming stuff. It's Ocean, Malakak, Mundus Gubernavi, Homo Genitor, Creator of Man, and a woman by the name of Dr. Elizabeth Shaw.
Looks like we found the mother lode here.
You say some of this goes back decades?
Well, the searches don't go back decades. Some are a couple years old, though. You can see that some of this stuff is basically like search network information, stored information here and there. But some of it goes back a ways. It looks like the oldest search thing was the Affiance specifically, but yeah, over the last several years, there have been a variety of things that have been popped out.
So we've been to 2 of those locations?
Your crew has been to the GL488A, which is the Hyperdyne factory where we started this Marine chapter.
Other crews were in Tanaka 5.
The chapter 1 was Tanaka 5. You all, as Marines, have been on the Solomons. You've trained on the Solomons. There's a USCMC garrison there. One of Jeremy's characters has been to Heaven's Joy. And you probably all would have been to Liberty Echo Naval Base too. There's a whole just mess load of information, basically. Like we're talking like literally years worth of, Wikipedia searches that have been copy pasted into hundreds of documents.
So, Rupert, do you have the storage to just pull all of that off so that we can bring that back?
Oh yeah. Let me just plug in this little. See, I got it.
No, you gotta turn it upside down.
Gotta wiggle it. Oh, yeah, that's true.
And you do that, and you try to plug it in, doesn't work, and you turn it upside down again, and then it goes in.
Yeah.
Classic. All right. Koenig, Spuds, Claymore, you all can roll observation tests as you've been keeping an eye out.
I'm gonna be doomed by these observation rolls.
I know, right? I learned that from Matt from Destroyer of Worlds.
Yep, observation.
Tell you, man. That's how you paid him out.
Running out of things to drop.
Okay.
It's not more stress.
Oh my goodness. You can drop your hatred of your ex-wife.
No, that is personal and dear.
Never
1,
surrender.
2,
Never give up.
4.
All right, so Claymore failed. Did anyone pass that? Koenig, you passed. Spuds, you passed. Okay, Spuds and Koenig. Both of you notice. You notice that you see it. You don't really hear anything, but you kind of feel vibrations against one of the walls. Maybe one of you is leaning on them or something like that. And you see there's a vent up ahead. Nothing pops out of it, but you're fairly confident something was just traveling in the walls down kind of the hallway and away from the mother, this kind of mother intersection. And you've seen those service kits like crawling through the walls at times, but you're pretty confident there's one in the walls somewhere.
Yeah, you want to just light it up?
Maybe grenade in them vents.
We got any left? I ain't got one.
I got plenty.
Go toss a grenade in that vent over there. See what we get.
Okay. Yeah, Spuds, you pop the vent, chuck a grenade in there. Don't worry about rolling it. I think this makes sense. It's an enclosed vent. It's stuck inside. It's gonna get hit, and so there's just an intense explosion. Those of you in the mother room might not even have been 100% prepared for this. As you look back, and the paneling on the hallway walls, like the panels of those walls, just explodes outwards, and you can see flopping down on the other side of one of the hallway panels is kind of a ripped to shreds service kit. Like its gangly arms are kind of bleeding with the white synthetic blood. It's still kind of twitching here and there as it's trying to crawl towards you. Claymore goes over, bifurcates it, the classic Claymore. But yeah.
And Barrett's she was sort of still in the process of getting healed and, kind of was startled by that. It's like, use your words, people. We can communicate when we're about to blow something up.
Hey now, Spuds and I communicate just fine.
To the rest of us, it's great that you knew. What if that fell on my head?
Arch, you said just shooting when we want to shoot, not to ask questions.
Right?
I just said don't ask me every damn little thing. But, we have training for a reason. We talk to each other for a reason. Is it dead?
Yes, dead, ma'am.
Is now.
All right.
So you do see like the wall itself that you just kind of exploded. You can kind of crawl through this to what looks like another room on the other side. Like you can kind of bypass a door entirely and just kind of crawl through if you want. But at this point, Ripper, we'll say, this is all probably taken a couple turns. So we're looking at like maybe 30 minutes or so for you to kind of download all the available info that you have. Lots of stuff. But you all can move on. You want to, if you're trying to get to engineering, you can try to get engineering if you want, which is one level down. There's also this like rip in the wall here that you can move forward if you want through. It's up to you.
So, since it was taking her a couple turns, I think Abbott would try and start talking to those who are probably shaking, maybe trembling, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
He'd first approach Sergeant Ripper and start talking to her. You know, losing a knife can be a tough circumstance, but it seems like you held up to it pretty well.
Wasn't my knife.
However, coming across that body must have been quite the grisly sight.
I mean, I know what a bear looks like. That wasn't a bear.
Ah, yes. That is true. How did that make you feel?
Not warm and cozy, that's for sure.
So, our conversation will have you reduce the stress as he goes on with that, and then he'll wander over to Claymore.
How much stress?
1.
Okay.
Claymore.
What do you
You've
want?
been-
I didn't find any plastic.
Ah, yes, well, that's too bad. But I suppose we could give them the coordinates to this place. Or we could possibly even try and take what is in that med pod that is still alive. But you've been handling yourself quite well, all except for just a moment ago. It seems that you were rather startled by what you had seen in there.
Who's startled? You're startled. I'm not startled. What are you talking about? I'm
Ah,
fine.
yes.
I'm just angry I lost my knife. That's all.
Denial. Yes, I have learned to recognize such things.
I'm not a river.
Ah, yes. A little bit of gallows humor. You have many coping mechanisms. Perhaps if we took some time to address what had happened in there.
Is it just me, or did he get some kind of weird upgrade?
He was whispering to me about my ex-wife earlier. I don't know. Like, it helped me process a little bit. But yeah, it's weird as fuck.
Did Mother get to him or something when I wasn't paying attention?
I don't know why you want to talk about it. There was a thing there, and Spuds called it a dingling, and the next thing you know, the wiggly dingling was in front of my face, but it had a mouth, and dinglings with mouths scare me, and I don't like it. And it ruined my knife. I'm really angry about that.
No
It's my
successes
favorite
on
knife.
that roll is so appropriate.
Ah, perhaps we could find you a replacement knife when we get back on ship.
And I yield no stress. I love it.
You're just irritated.
I'm just Claymore's just even more angry.
All right. So, people are healed up. How some of them are not. But where do you want to go next?
Engineering next?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right.
What about through the hole to the next room? Do we want to explore
Oh,
that?
yeah. If there's one door we don't have to take off, let's take the easy route for once.
I mean,
Sure.
I'm not having a problem with any doors, but if you want to crawl in that hole, you go right ahead. I'll be back here.
All right. So who crawls through the hole? Spuds, are you going?
I'm not volunteering to crawl through
They-
that damn hole.
It sounded like you were.
Perhaps,
It sounded like you said there's a hole in the wall that should go through,
Abbott?
and it sounded like that was you.
What do you think there, buddy?
It is something that I can do. Believe me.
Don't worry about it. I got this one. I need to break in this new machine gun anyway. I'll go
Okay.
through the hole.
Koenig, you crawl through the hole. Got your flashlight on. Scout the room. No lights on in here. You immediately hear a crunch as you crawl into the room, and you look down, and it looks like there's some kind of glass canister that's been broken here. You start flashing around, and you can see that you're in some kind of lab, and you notice that there's essentially glass like everywhere on the ground, as if something just broke. And as you flash the light around, you notice what it was. There's apparently was some kind of like protective observation case, and you can see what looks like fairly giant-looking eggs, much bigger than what you saw when you were in the med lab. One of which seems to have kind of had the top of it kind of exploded completely, and it's fallen over onto its side and it's completely dried out. The other seems to be there's like one intact, like one of these observation cases is intact, and you can see that there's this large, like it's like the size of an ostrich egg, maybe bigger, just sitting within this glass case. You look at it,
Yeah.
and like you can see like it's almost still kind of moving.
It's fucked up. And you said these things don't look like the ones in the weird
Much
spore
bigger.
things.
They're much bigger.
Much bigger. Barrett, looks like we're expectant in here.
Oh.
If we're wanting to take a specimen back, this may be the thing. How big is this glass case that it's in?
So think of it like a cube. So it's probably about 3.5 tall, and then by about 3 wide, and then 3 deep.
Okay. Is it attached to like hoses or anything, or is it just freestanding, setting on something?
Freestanding, setting on, and it kind of adhered to some kind of platform.
Yeah, some kind of fucked up egg. It looks like one of them blew up already, so that's good news for us. One less thing to shoot. But
Like blew up and it's running around somewhere?
Maybe
I don't
that was the
know.
dingling.
Maybe that was the dingling. I don't know. I'll go and kick the exploded one with my foot. See if
Okay.
it's. see
Okay.
what I see.
Roll a mobility test.
Okay. All right. I got a success.
All right. So as you're walking towards it, you notice a few things. First, you notice curled up in the corner, kind of out of sight. It looks to be some kind of scorpion-looking creature. Again, doesn't seem to be moving, but it's just kind of laying there in the corner. You can see that it's been kind of ripped up a bit, like it's been shot at or stabbed, something like that. But again, doesn't seem to be moving, and there's kind of a little bit of damage to the area around it. As you step a little closer, you see the egg that's inside the case suddenly, like the flaps kind of just on their own.
Oh shit!
Come
It's
undone.
hatching.
Go ahead and take a point of stress for that there, Koenig.
Yeah. That's fair. Now I'm gonna be a mama. God damn it! I'd swear this never happened again.
What are you seeing there, Coney?
Well, there's a dead scorpion-looking fucker over here. Hey, Barrett, you said you wanted to know if I want to do something dumb. I'm about to shoot it again just to make sure, and I'll squeeze a few rounds off in it. And the
into
dead
the scorpion thing. Yeah, no problem.
And then this egg is hatching.
But
big.
it's still inside?
It's inside a case, yeah, like a glass case.
Fascinating.
You guys should come take a look at this so I don't have to die alone.
So Barrett's sort of distracted, like, was because she wanted, now that people are starting to move out of the room, she wanted to look at the body more closely that had the big hole in it.
Uh-huh.
Because I don't think we actually looked at that body.
No, you didn't. So what is it you're looking for, or what do you-
Identifying, uniforms or anything.
Yeah. It's got a Weyland-Yutani jumpsuit.
Okay.
Abbott will move into the room.
Okay.
Is the door clear, Coney? Can we come in through the door?
Yeah, you're clear to come on in.
So Koenig, you kind of start firing the gun. You turn back. You shout to them, crunching of your feet on the glass. Go ahead and roll another. Mobility test.
Okay. I'm gonna push that one.
No. Let it go. Let it ride. Okay.
What am I gonna do? Stress. Ooh, I freeze.
That's great.
Okay.
Mobility check and freeze.
Uh-huh.
So. Okay. So Actually, I gotta roll something here really quick.
No, that's okay.
No, I do. Sorry.
need.
I'm okay.
No need.
So, Koenig, you call back. You look over and you see the flaps are kind of like flopping down. You're tall enough probably that you can sort of see the tops of it, and there's something moving about, and that's when you see something explode out of the egg. Goes right into the kind of the containment case. You see cracks immediately form as what looks like a base of a hand with some sort of strange suction cup just smashes against the glass of this container, and immediately this huge like radiating cracks come out from the center, and you can see this long tail is kind of starting to curl up from inside of the egg. The glass is starting to break and then kind of falls apart right as like Abbott walks into the room, and this thing is like pushing through the glass. What do you want to do? As you're frozen, but you are not, Abbott, as you step in. So you'll watch. So Abbott, you walk into the room and you see Koenig just frozen as this thing has pushed its way out of this containment case and looks, you're not sure what it is, but it looks fairly aggressive. What do you want to do, Abbott?
Abbott will use his bodyguard talent. Well, no, I guess it's not that point yet, but
It hasn't attacked yet. Yeah.
Use his bodyguard programming to make sure and intersperse himself in between Koenig and the threat.
Okay.
And he will attempt to restrain it because, so far he's like, maybe it has acid too. So he's going to try and not like puncture its skin, but he's going to try and restrain it.
So you're gonna try to like basically attack it, is what you're doing?
Kind of hold it down,
Okay, so
like
it's a grapple. Like you're trying to grapple.
Yeah, there we go.
Is what you're doing. Yeah. All right. So go ahead and make a close combat roll as you try to grapple it, and it is opposed. Let me see how many dice I get for this, if I get any at all.
Grapple lovingly.
Grapple, a loving grapple. Do I get dice for this? Oh no, it's the facehugger. So sorry, I'm still reading the egg thing. Yeah, it does. It gets dice. So you reach out to try to grab it, and as you kind of bend down, it like leaps out at you, and you manage with your quick synthetic like reflexes just to grab it whoosh, on both sides, and these two sprawling, almost bone-like, almost crab-like claws that are splaying outwards as like there's like these six arms that have just been splayed apart, almost like a sea spider leaping out at you. You just grab two of them and you're holding it, and that center strange suction mass and is like kind of pulsing and dripping. Okay, do you call out and do anything?
Fascinating. I believe I may be in need of some form of assistance. However, I wouldn't recommend assisting me. This is not a good predicament to be in. Somewhat of a conundrum.
Shut up, Abbott. Just hold it up.
So this thing's not like, it's not docile. It's gonna try to break. Yeah. So like basically like Abbott, you came in, you interspersed yourself between Koenig. This thing leaped out at you. That was its turn. And so everybody else, no one else came into the room. So it should be just Koenig and Abbott. So what are the rest of you doing?
I'll start going that way.
Okay. So you kind of bend down, you go through the hole in the wall, you feel the scraping of some of the interior of the wall kind of across your shoulder and your back, and you get in and you can see Abbott kind of like thrashing this thing around right in front of him, as Koenig is just like almost in a trance, kind of watching as Abbott is struggling here. What do you want to do? Claymore, you moved in, fast action, you still have your slow if there's something you want to do.
So I have a like incredibly safe and smart idea. I think I'll just take my flamethrower and just shove the tip of it right, because Abbott's holding it up, kind of like you're holding it wide on either side.
Maybe.
I don't care.
I mean, it's a flamethrower. He's holding it. If you're shooting the flamethrower, it's hitting, like, it's a very close quarters situation here, as he literally stepped in front of Koenig and caught it as it was flying at Koenig.
But then I ruin our medic's hands.
I feel like theatrically, if you're using the flamethrower, you're hitting all three of them, Koenig, Abbott, in the. I think it's fair to say.
All right. Here's what we're gonna do.
What was that?
Because I would hit Koenig, I won't.
Okay.
I care about Koenig.
Okay.
And I don't want to
that.
ruin Abbott's hands. That's how we're gonna keep Mama Bear alive. But here's what we're gonna do. When we're all out of good ideas, we do the dumb idea. So we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, and on 3, not 3 then, but on 3, you chuck it over in that corner, and I burn it.
You know, I'm
Calibrating.
freezing my ass off and not in the temperature sense over here, but we could fall back on Old Faithful and just get the rope out. Put this thing on a leash. Hog tie it.
No.
10 minutes later.
Get along, little doggies.
Okay, Abbott. 1, 2,
Calibrating.
3.
Okay. So we're gonna keep this in, because literally Conan can potentially die. We're gonna keep this in sort of structured time. Like, we don't have to do a
that's fair.
full, but like, so we'll say it's gonna come around. When it comes back around to Abbott, he'll throw it down, and you have a readied slow action to shoot it if he throws it off to the side. But Spuds, Ripper, Barrett, what do you want to do?
Yeah. So because Claymore went through the hole, I'm gonna go around into the hallway to the door, because that was established and that's open, right? Abbott came through the door, so I'm gonna go to the door and ready there.
Okay, so you're standing in the middle of the doorway, the proper way into this room. You've got your gun, you're ready, and you can see Abbott thrashing around. And he's struggling a bit, but he still has it. This tail is whipping around. You can see occasionally it kind of whips down like it's going for Abbott's neck or his torso here and there.
I want to lower my gun.
Okay.
I want to pull an electroshock grenade and ready it just in case. In case their plan fails, I'm gonna toss this in the room.
All right, Ripper and Barrett, what do you want to do?
So Barrett, like any good boss, is going to hear the plan that they have and then command them to do the thing that they had the idea to do. So I'm going to do my field commander. So first I'll command Abbott as the thrower. Oh, damn.
I'm going to throw that thing. I'm going to throw it real good.
Yeah, he is.
4 successes and some stress. I've got 2 less.
Run away.
So I think I'm okay. Because I actually have I just forget. Nerves of Steel. And then I will command Claymore next with 2 successes. And another roll.
Oh no.
Again, -2. So
By
yeah,
the
they
end
have
of
been
this, none of us are going to have gear.
successfully commanded to do the thing that they said that they were going to do.
Okay.
It's a +4 and a +2.
Okay. And then Ripper, what did you want to do?
I will stay on the other side of the hole and not engage in whatever madness they're trying to do.
That sounds wise. Okay. So we're going to move back around, and I think we'll say you can go, Koenig. And we'll say the start of the second round, your stun is kind of gone.
Okay.
Abbott's interspersed himself. You can see this thing flailing about. Other people seem to be ready. What do you want to do, Koenig?
Well, I want to pull my gun and start shooting.
Okay.
It's in the corner, right?
No, it's Abbott hasn't thrown it yet.
Oh, I
'cause
thought
we're-
he threw
we're
it.
in-
Okay.
We're doing proper combat.
Yeah, I will not be shooting then.
Plus, the baby dongheads have acid.
I'm going to clear out.
Okay.
They got a
Just
plan
move
with
out.
the flamethrower. I'm going to clear out.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just back out, no problem. So then it'll be the face hugger Hang on. Let's see who goes first between Abbott and the Facehugger. Let's actually, because this is actually kind of important. So this will be for Abbott. Abbott, you're 4. So I'm just seeing who gets to go first. That's all. Between the two of you, and then the Facehugger will go second. Actually, the Facehugger has 2 speed. Sorry. So yeah, you're gonna get to go first. So Abbott, you can throw it before it'll act.
Okay. What do I need to do to throw?
I don't think you really need to do. And if you want, we'll say you can just roll a close combat just to throw it. As long as you succeed, we'll say you throw it. Yeah, you throw it. It's not gonna do any damage, but you just throw it into the corner of the room. Okay.
I forgot that. Assistance.
Yeah.
There's 4 to that.
So you throw it into the corner. Claymore, you said you were readying, so I'm fine with saying you're readying for like the kind of triggering. So you can go ahead and roll your flamethrower at that point before the Facehugger goes.
2.
Well, that'll do it.
I've had it with you stupid dinglings and dongheads.
So Abbott throws it to the corner, and immediately, Claymore, you just uncork the flamethrower and just set the whole corner of the room on fire. You hear a screech kind of come out of this thing. You're not even sure where it comes from. You're not sure if it's screeching or if it's like a pop or what. But whatever it is, like, you have just toasted this thing. You look in the corner, and now there's one kind of dried out old one that Koenig had lit up. And then there's this other one that you've just torched. The flames begin to kind of die down a bit, and you can see scorch marks all over the exterior of this creature as it will lay down limp. That's plenty of damage. That's 2 health, so it's definitely enough.
Jeez.
Okay. So you take a deep breath. You look over, and this thing is on the ground. Doesn't seem to be moving. It's like the last death throes as the legs and arms still kind of move, but the flames die down. You kind of wait. Maybe a couple of you shoot at it anyway as everyone backs away, whatever it might be. But it does seem to be inert.
I'd like to put forward a request. We do have a live one trapped. Maybe we can just have a standing agreement that if we find more eggs, we just burn them before this nonsense happens.
I am absolutely fantastic with that decision right there.
But how do we know? Never mind. I suppose that is not important.
Better do it then than before it does what it was about to do to you there, Abbott.
I think you just said something reasonable, Abbott. I'm confused.
Well,
Okay.
it's bound to happen sooner or later, right?
That's right. Broken clock twice a day.
Okay.
So there's the
I am
2
proud of
egg
you.
casings, by the way, too. One of which is kind of dried out and old. The other one's still like this facehugger just popped out of it. And I'm using those terms because we all know what they are, but you know, you as characters obviously would.
We
But you have
never seen anything like this before.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a
this
baby
is
dong
really
head.
close.
yeah.
It's a baby dong.
I think it's fair, by the way. Koenig, you already took the stress. Once that all was happening, when you all came in and saw that, everyone can take a stress from just kind of seeing.
Yeah.
Ripper, you didn't actually. You stayed in the back. You're good. Don't worry about it. But the rest of you who kind of came in and saw this alien creature, kind of struggling with Abbott. But if you got these two egg casings, there's nothing else in the room that you can tell seems to be intact. There's a lot of debris and damage all over the place. But you look around, you see signs of like old bloodstains and things like that. There's like signs of struggle, but you don't see anything else in here that might suggest anything like hidden. Like it all seems pretty clear.
Can Barrett look at the egg, the remaining like shell of the egg?
Yeah, so you look at it, there's the interior of it seems kind of moist and cushioned in some way. The kind of the membrane of the egg itself, as you flash your light into it, is translucent. And so you can kind of see through it a little bit, but all you really kind of see is the remaining like amniotic fluid or whatever that's inside the egg, where the facehugger just popped out of.
Can I just take a bit of? I just want to take a bit of the shell.
Yeah, you take a sample. Yeah, no problem. Okay. That's it in this room. One more place to go, unless there's something you guys decided you want to do else.
Yeah, I think the two things that I want to do is definitely still go to engineering, and then also see if we can somehow cut off the communication that this place is sending off to all these other places.
We'll say Ripper, I would think, would probably know to do that when she was, because she's been in the mother room, able to probably do that, no
Sabotage.
problem. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So if you continue your crawl downwards, Spuds, Claymore, you're up front as per usual. You get down into what looks like a very large room. You can definitely tell this is engineering. There's a variety of coolant tanks. You can see all sorts of cables and stuff. But you see hanging from the ceiling of this very tall room, not just cables and things, but you see human bodies that have just sort of been draped, hanging from some rafters here and there, like clotheslines and things, and they have not been treated well. It looks like many of them have been kind of ripped apart here and there in these kind of gruesome ways. Anybody who wants to, you do not have to. But anybody who would like to, go ahead and make a wits roll, just a pure wits roll, if you want.
Yeah, that's 3 successes for Barrett.
Okay.
1 success.
Success.
Those of you who got some successes, you look up and they're hanging. When you look up, you can see they're kind of hanging. Their bodies have been torn up, and they're like kind of adhered to what looks like these crude, like upside down crucifixes in some way. They almost look as though like they've been sacrificially killed in some manner. And you can see that they have like holes in their hands and their feet. There's like kind of there's sort of like religious undertones almost in a very gruesome and terrible way. And they're all kind of just hanging upside down on these what look like, again, like crude crosses and stuff that have been affixed together, welded together from some of the debris across the station.
Barrett, in true Barrett form, freezes after looking at this.
Yeah. So there's a total of 3 bodies. But otherwise, there's actually nothing else in engineering, and this is one of the rooms that you've seen that has the least amount of damage done to it. There's very little damage done in here. Everything seems to be in relatively good working order.
Great. I guess I'll plug in.
Koenig, did you have something?
No, just
Okay.
shock. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, extra success. Let's see, what haven't I given you? Okay. So 1 success, you get a list of names, but there's no context to them. But yeah, you have a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 separate names.
Yep. Looks like that's it. I got some names. Can we go?
Someone should take those bodies down. Someone should.
Okay.
Why?
Because
Ours
it's
is not the
entirely
question.
disrespectful.
Why?
If we came across your body, we would.
Would we just
If I
blow
looked
up
like that,
this place?
I wouldn't want you to go near me, Sarge.
I gotta say, I agree in this. Like, they're not gonna get any more disrespected than what they are right now, and it sure is creepy as fuck to have to touch those things.
I'm already looking for a way to get up high enough to do it. But I really look like I hate it.
Claymore.
What are we gonna do with them?
Claymore.
Mm-hmm.
In your state, I wouldn't recommend going up there. in anyone's state, with exception to myself, I wouldn't go up there.
It's
Can we
not your
just-
place to question what Mama Bear wants.
Can we just get out of here and blow this place?
Master Sergeant Marco Barrett, I'm willing to stand in his stead for this task, for it will not affect me, even though I am troubled by it, not in the same manner.
Jeff, are they hanging by something?
Yeah, so the room is quite tall. There's these very, very tall coolant tanks that are literally like 2 stories high. And you can see there's a variety of like these service rafters and maintenance ladders that go up to them. You can kind of get up to the top couplings. And so it looks like from some of those, the catwalks up top where they kind of access some of this machinery, they're being hung from those catwalks. So they're not hard to get to.
If we can consider that the freezing is done, Barrett.
Yeah.
It's very important for her to like collect dog tags and do all of those things, kind of as a leader. So she would find this as something important to do.
Okay.
And everyone else can stand around and complain.
Yeah, go ahead and recover a stress for that.
Thank you.
So we'll say maybe half an hour goes by, and you're able to you and Claymore and Abbott are able to sort of take the bodies down. You don't. I'll assume Koenig and Spudge, you're kind of doing the same thing you've been doing, kind of staying on the lookout for things while Ripper's going through what she can of the remaining. You don't hear anything else anymore. I mean, you hear the hum and the thrum of the various equipment in here, but you don't hear any sounds anymore of people moving about the vents. In the entire 30 minutes, you don't see anybody kind of coming up anywhere. You do know that there's like one, like you can kind of go a hatchway down. I might even just give it to you, but like you and Koenig might peek through this hatchway, and it leads to what looks like turret control, like the bottom portion of the turret control. There's like, remember there are turrets on like the top and the bottom of the station, and so you can kind of sweep down in there as well. Turret control, see everything seems to be in order, functional and fine. There's nothing in that room to freak you out, and nobody else hiding. But for all intents and purposes, unless someone or something has been hiding in the vents or hiding in the walls or is on the exterior of the station, you've gone through basically every room, or you've accounted for every room, peeking through doors or just knowing that something's there. So there's no other like surprise areas that you've covered in the station.
So while we're finishing this job, Barrett will turn to Claymore and say, I never want to be used as some signal and to be hung like that. So if anything ever happens to me, you need to make sure that I am burned or something else happens, because I'll be damned if that is going to be what's going to happen to me if I ever go. You have to promise me.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
That's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, I'm a little tougher than I was before, but we're up against the weirdest shit that I've ever seen in any job that I've been on, and it might just be just around the next corner.
What?
Are you not appalled by all of the things that we've seen today?
No, I was just looking around the next corner.
Well, I'm glad you're doing your job.
Thank you.
Is there any way I could sabotage the machine in some way, if we're not blowing this place up, to send out a signal that the network should stand down, whatever communications are going out? Because I
You
feel
wanna
like there's some
try-
huge elaborate plan going on that I want to sabotage.
This definitely, yeah, you definitely get the sense that this is sort of a go-between between the actual core space of the core rule book's map of the world, the heavens, so the stars of the middle heavens, and the whatever this null 256 system that's 2 parsecs away, even further out. So this is being used as a communicative go-between. Almost like some kind of firewall between like that kind of communication. So you're trying. So you want to try to send a message to what, like
Whatever their
everyone?
grandiose plan is, just to like stand down.
Like a virus in their communication, or just straight up like a new communication?
New communication.
Okay. You can roll a comtech if you want to try to send some kind of communication. Now, this is all this is going to be, is to successfully send the message, not to convince them of it. It's just to send the message. Yeah.
And that's how much this really meant to me.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, we're dropping items left and right. All right.
We got to get out of here.
We got to get out of here.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, at a certain point, it's just like enough. Maybe the stress is too much. So we don't have to role play it all out. So that's just, there's a couple things I just want to account for, and you all need to account for. You've come across some things in here between the goo urns, the neomorph that's in the med pod, the eggshells, the bird eggs, various human bodies, various synth bodies. So just kind of walk me through. Again, don't need to role play this. Assume this is taking place over the course of like a shift or a couple hours. What is the plan for the station and for some of those items?
We need to recover samples.
Yeah. Those stinking vats, man. Those seem really insecure. Like they just open up so easily. Like I'm terrified of those.
Do we really need any more samples? I mean, there's samples on every ship. All the ships I named off have samples on them.
We've got the live creature, like Abbott and Claymore worked really well together. So we have a live creature that's very securely contained.
Anything that's contained, I think we need to take back. Because I know if we call back to HQ, they're going to say, grab all the samples you can. And if we go home without these samples and they figure out about it, they're going to send us right back to go get them.
That's a good point.
I definitely don't want to handle this shit, but orders are orders.
We're not going to blow this place when we leave.
Oh, we're going to blow it after we get the samples.
Well, there's nowhere to come back to then. So
then it'd be court-martial, and I ain't looking forward to that either.
I mean, I've got the data, so a couple samples, data.
You know how those scientists are. If there's one thing to look at numbers, another thing to stick their hands and poke things.
Yeah.
Well, we got like 6 more ships to go find. I think we'll find plenty of samples on those too.
Can we do our best to secure like a one of everything kind of sample at least?
Sounds like a terrible idea, but all right.
But you wish.
Okay.
Noted.
One of everything, right?
Terrible idea.
No.
Do we really have something to legitimately, securely, the little vase thingies? Like the smaller, like the little bird egg looking size ones, those ones, I think they were already pretty well packaged. We've got a container.
Yeah.
We've got the live creature. Those down the, I don't know. I mean, it's just like you just lift it up. It's like a cookie jar of doom.
Yeah.
Well, if anything, we learned that covering it with a tarp so that it could not see calmed it down quite a bit, as long as we didn't touch it. So it would be aggressive while moving it, but as soon as we got it to a location to where we were no longer moving it, it would no longer be aggressive.
Yeah, we'll just sweep it all under a rug. It'll be fine.
Well, the same thing that I'm proposing is done when handling snakes and birds.
Couldn't we call in a team to get rid of this stuff? Is this really our job?
Well, let's look at what they gave us on orders here.
Do we really want a team to come out here and mess with all this stuff? We don't know who's coming out here next. This is some crazy tech here. Some biogenetics, blah.
Can we fairly say that amidst a lot of us, we maybe have something the equivalent of duct tape or something like that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Gotta say, looking over the mission objectives here, it actually doesn't say we have to bring samples back.
Yeah, but like you said,
No buts about it. I mean, just blow this
Following
place.
orders here. There's no.
We got data.
Depends on how you interpret mission objective number 3. Discover any
Yeah.
additional intelligence regarding the Renegade Synthetics plans. Do any of these things factor into those plans? That's the only one. The other two, absolutely not. The other two mission objectives have nothing to do with this.
I would leave it up to, like, if Mama Bear wants to bring the vases with the stuff, if Mama Bear wants it, Claymore's willing to take duct tape and just wrap the hell out of them.
Does
And maybe
this
like,
thing, does this
We'll
rock
just
got
put it
any
in
kind
her
of
room.
navigation
Be
system?
fine.
Engines, propulsion?
You completely destroyed the bridge, and so any attempts at piloting this thing is just not going to happen anymore.
Fair point.
So if we have to, so the last piece of that is the number of human replacement model in the wild.
We don't
Well,
have
yeah,
that,
you
do
you
we?
yeah, you know that. Well, yeah, well, the big thing is that you know that this station has been being used as a go-between, so it's been communicating back to the middle heavens, like the world of Alien, but it's also been communicating with some other coordinates that are further out
Which we
into
now
deep
know.
space, which you're more than likely going to be tasked with going there,
Right.
mhm.
Right.
because that's what I prep. So fuck off.
Right.
Uh,
No, I was just wondering. It says like, should we be bringing like
Samples.
those buckets of body parts that we had found? Like, should
It's
we be
entirely up to
bringing
you.
Those.
I would vote no on that. That's my vote, but I give you full leeway to override me on this one.
At
I
least
would
we have
vote
a total
no.
number we've seen, and it's in our
We got-
recording.
Yeah,
Mm.
we got our data. We just got to report back that this place is here, and hopefully no one else shows up to scrub it.
And
But
what
I don't think we're gonna get the answers unless we head out to that fucking goddamn location in the middle of nowhere.
No, we do need to.
Totally safe.
Yeah.
Other big question, actually, how much have you been communicating back to your ship? How much of like what you've encountered, what you've seen, have you been communicating to your ship? Which, by the way, never docked. You guys did the spacewalk to get onto here. So you've got your intelligence officer, Theo Ellis, is on the ship. You've got your pilot. You've got a couple of extra Marines, Dawson and Lopez, and you've got Hutch, who are all on the ship right now. So how much have you been communicating?
I would vote SOP. Moving around in hostile territory would be to maintain radio silence.
Yeah, I mean, we were a bit busy for most of
Okay.
our-
We could head back over there and give Mr. Intelligence a full report and see what the fuck he wants to do, and then we can throw him out an airlock and get on with the job.
Is
I
it-
mean, Koenig and Barrett would know that more than likely if you tell Ellis, he's going to want samples. Like, that's just he's a company man from like he's a company man from like a military perspective. He's not Wayland Yutani or anything, or is
Right.
he? But like he's gonna say take everything. So it's a question of, do you not tell him? Do you, the six of you, agree not to do this or whatever? You know, not to tell him so he doesn't know, or like someone finds out. So that's stuff that your characters would know.
If he wants samples, he can come with us and get them all.
That'd be a nice thing to tell him, but it ain't gonna float.
Oh, he can float just fine.
Either we bring it back, or we say that we brought back everything we found.
Technically,
There's
we
no
brought back
middle.
everything they were looking for. Barrett, if you're cool with this, I'm cool with this. Mom's the word on freaky fucking aliens and shit like that running around this place.
I don't think that helps. Like, this is how I'm thinking about this, but like, if our job is to try to know the risk to the rest of
Mhm.
humanity, keeping it mom doesn't really do a good job at managing that risk.
I feel like we should get some pictures of that weird hieroglyphic nonsense, or maybe that would be captured
Yes.
on our shoulder cams.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, how about
Okay,
this?
so I will say, if
yeah.
you're gonna say you're capturing stuff on your shoulder cams, then Ellis has been watching you the whole time.
Well, that's why I'm asking. Like,
You
I
know
don't
what I
know
mean?
if we could.
Because
Oh.
like
He would have a
Lieutenant
feed.
Gorman and stuff like that, and aliens was watching everything. So we can do, like, I'll take it either way. It's whatever you guys want. So if you want to say you went communications dark completely, that means no cams, no anything, that's fine. Like, it's your call. We can retroactively pick whatever it is.
That would be my thought, just because we don't know who would be watching in. But Barrett, I think you swayed me. Yeah.
Now that we're cleared, there was one of those hieroglyphs not far from where we're at. So we should definitely go scan that.
Why don't we have a couple people task off with going and getting that scan, and the rest of us can start gathering goddamn samples and moving them over. God, I hate this. We're all gonna die.
Oh, the grin on Jeff's face.
I'm just happy. I'm just happy to be playing games. It's been a rough week. This is very fun. So I'm putting you all down for one of everything.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. One of everything. You're taking the neomorph. That's that Abbott and Claymore. You got that taken care of. And one of everything else. You got the eggs that have been hatched. You've got the other eggs that are in the small little bird-like eggs. You've got one of each urn. Okay,
and we're
so
doing everything we can to find 5 layers of
sure.
brushing all these things.
Who's gonna pack up the urns?
I will.
Okay. All right. Okay. Abbott, go ahead and roll mobility test as you're packing up. And I'm gonna want 2 of them, one for each, because remember there's the black goo and then there's the white goo. So we'll say black goo first, successful. You managed to, okay.
Yay.
Both times you managed to extract an urn from within its case, put it into kind of a hard case that you can then move back without any concern of this kind of tipping or swaying or getting knocked over. As you move it, though, you do notice that it kind of the physical movement of it. You can almost see just kind of twisting and putting it down in the spot. You can kind of feel the mechanism in it, almost opening up. But you quickly kind of shut the case, and that's that. Okay, so we're gonna say that's gonna take at least a turn, or excuse me, at least a shift and a half. We'll say between everything that you're collecting. You all can probably at that point, since it's we'll say 2 shifts just to make it easy. You can kind of restore some of your HP there. And we'll say you make it back on your ship. Don't worry about doing a spacewalk to get back on. That would be silly if someone died at this point. That would be kind of funny. But we'll say everyone gets back on the ship. You have done your best to, and probably Dawson and Lopez and Hutch probably helped out to some degree in this, to kind of store stuff as best you can within your ship. You don't have a big cargo ship. This is kind of a sleek, kind of stealth ship, but you have space. So you store it as best you can. Then it comes to what are you doing with the station? You have missiles, missiles that are capable on your craft of destroying the station if you launch a few of them. Do you do that? Do you leave it intact or do you destroy it?
I vote nuke the thing.
How many votes do we have for nuking this?
If you're allowing votes, I would put 2 thumbs up for that.
Okay.
I mean, this is the waypoint.
Spuds is an aye. Okay. Nuke it is that we're doing?
Oh,
Nuke it
please
is.
nuke it.
Okay. You guys get to a safe space, safe distance, and launch some of your missiles, and you watch as the station just is obliterated. Just gonna write that down really quick. Destroyed station.
Consequences later. I can feel it.
Hey, consequences either way. We leave
Oh,
this
man.
intact, and
Yep.
here's your communication.
The
buoy.
game master will remember that. Okay, so you get back on the ship. You all are recuperating. Each of you your stress is probably coming down. Those of you, we don't need to play it all out and do the rolls. There's enough time where I think everyone, as long as you're not injured, and I don't think anyone is, you guys can regain stuff. No big deal. So go ahead and refresh your stress, refresh your health. You're good. Enough time has passed. you've basically got a ton of intel to dig through. But the big thing is that literally signs are pointing to a system that the synthetics refer to as null 256 that is 2 parsecs further trailward, deep space, which is going to put you at roughly 24 parsecs, 25 parsecs, which is several parsecs outside of the network. Consulting, Ellis, I mean, like this, like, do you want to go, or do you want to do something else?
We gotta go.
Definitely have to go.
Yeah.
Well, since Jeff has it ready, we should go the other way.
I have other things ready too. It's okay.
Yeah.
We can
This is
go-
part of the job. We haven't found out what they're doing or how pervasive their influence is. We gotta go.
Yeah, I mean the cookie crumbs all eat theirs, so
Remember,
We
looking
do have
forward to
some-
the cookie
crumbs
monster.
to go.
I do have some reservations carrying these samples and taking it to them, potentially.
They were already their samples. I mean, I'm sure they've got more there. I'll probably leave that place with even more. Terrible.
I see.
Like it's a risk. I mean, just having all of this on our ship is a huge risk, for sure.
Do we have escape vessel or escape pods on this thing?
I did actually spec it out completely. I'm gonna double check what I put for you guys. It's a chum bucket. You
If
do
we
not.
do, oh, we don't. Shit. I was gonna say we could take the risk and load everything up on a pod.
Yeah, you have a EEV2. I have to look at. I can't remember which one it is, but you don't have the lifeboat. So EEV2
Okay.
isn't the lifeboat for sure. I know that.
Okay.
Any asteroids around here? We could put this stuff at a safe place, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, we need some form of environmental control. Just sticking it on a rock wouldn't do us much good. It'd all freeze over.
And that's just a bad thing.
I mean, us getting that pay bonus at the end of this, it would be a bad thing for that. Let's carry it with us, I guess. If things are going to go wrong, let's let them go all the way wrong.
We might as well at this point keep an eye on it.
Okay, so EEV Type 2, capacity of 2 to 4 people. It's 6 to 8 meters long. It's a simple box-like pod with minimal thruster capability. Has cramped seating, no capacity for cryosleep, and can sustain its occupants for 10 days. They cannot land on a planet and will burn up on re-entry. That's what you guys have on your ship.
Counting heads.
Okay.
2 to 4.
Just letting you know. Okay, so we head into space. Most of you have to go into cryo. Abbott doesn't, obviously. The rest of you do. 2 parsecs away, you have an FTL rating of 14, which means it's going to take you 4 weeks to make this travel, which you do. So at 1 by 1, everyone kind of goes down to cryo. If we wanted, we could say you didn't do it initially right away. Maybe you spend a few days first before any kind of strangeness might kick in. Because if you're awake while you're in cryo for too long, you start getting, or while you're out of cryo, weird stuff can like neuro stuff can potentially happen to you. But if you want, we can say a couple days pass, and maybe you dig into the intel a little bit more, and I can put together some handouts for you for next time. But just to kind of get things set up, you'll come out of cryo eventually, and Ripper, go ahead and roll a Comtech as you kind of scan. Just do a basic kind of sensor sweep as you drop out of FTL. You go through the rigmarole of everyone gets food, everyone gets changed. Like you go outside of system, and you're slowly kind of moving into system itself. And it is a system. You do actually, as you start doing basic scans, like really simple stuff, it's a 5-planet system. 3 dwarf planets. There does appear to be, like this is all kind of surrounding a sun. Your basic scan reveals there's 2 asteroid belts. From what you can tell, Ripper, it looks like there's 2 gas giants that, like, on either side of a belt, and there's one rock that's like really, really close to the kind of the orbiting the sun. Probably doesn't have anything there. But there are 2 planets, the second and the third planet away, that seem to be in kind of a decent, kind of Earth-like, Mars-like distance from the sun, that there might be something of interest there. Did you want to push that, or are you satisfied with just like basic 1 success? This will carry over. This stress will carry over till next time, though. Okay. Don't roll stress. You're fine.
No.
I am satisfied. Okay. With the extra success, so it should be a total of 2. It's such a
like
D of
3.
8. Is it total of 3? What does it say? Total of 3 successes. Okay, so then 2 more things. Okay. You notice that there are 3 dwarf planets that seem to, at least, there could be more. You're not sure in terms of, like, you have to get a proper science team out here. One of them, you have this kind of faint signal that seems to be coming from them. By signal, I mean like you think that there's something in orbit around the dwarf planet itself. So that's one thing. It's one of the extra successes. And then with the final success, you notice that as you're coming in towards the system, there is a ship. And you recognize the signature of this ship. It appears to be the Radamanthus.
I was gonna say Asteria.
Yeah, me too.
It's not the Asteria. It is the Radamanthus, which seems to be performing some kind of task. You're not sure. It looks like you're getting like pings, like sensor buoy pings and things like that. You're not sure. It might be repairing one. It might be unloading one. It might be collecting. You're not sure. But the Radamanthus ship is towing what looks like a buoy of some kind, and that's what you get for your extra success. And we'll stop there, because this is our new playground for the next couple sessions, and there's a lot that we could potentially do here. But that's what you get initially with your first basic scan.
We made it out.
With
Yep.
samples.
Yep.
Yeah, with a ship full of samples that can kill us.
Definitely.
I mean,
Notorite.
We
Yay.
could find an asteroid here, right? Or a planet or something that we
There
could
are 2
put
asteroid
in this
belts.
little cargo ship, and 10 days is a long time to come back to it.
There are 2 asteroid belts that you did notice. One of them is between the. Hang on. One of them is between the 4th and 5th planet. One of them is between the 5th planet and the various dwarf planets on the outside. And so,
They'll just
yeah.
put it somewhere for safekeeping,
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like a proto-molecule. You got to keep that stuff somewhere secure.
we'll see if they're even,
Someone has to keep it.
we'll see if everything went fine. We'll figure out what Abbott has been doing, actually. We'll tap into what Abbott has been doing for the past 4 weeks when we start up in 2 weeks. See what happens.
Watching us
'Cause-
sleep.
I mean, we'll see what he...
Watching
we'll see
over
if he's-
Claymore, making sure nothing bad happens to him.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet and so not, but yeah.
Whenever
All
he
right.
sees him having a nightmare, he'll just put his hand on the cryotube and be like, "It's okay, you're okay."
Okay, buddy.
If only he could be angry in his sleep.
All right, let's hit some closing plugs. See what everyone's doing this week. Chuck, what's going on with the Defenders this week?
Wednesday, we've got some Pathfinder 2nd edition. We get to see Jeff's new character. That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
Thursday, we're doing Watercolors and Warriors, our Ghibli-inspired 5th ed campaign. Friday is the finale of our basic fantasy role-playing game campaign thing. We got a double header on Saturday, 1 p.m. We got Forbidden Lands with a bunch of people from right here. And then Saturday night, we've got the Darkest House ran by Steven. Jeff will be there too.
I'm in both of those games with Chuck.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's what we got.
Nice. Jen, what do you got going on?
Tomorrow night, I think we're doing Tribes of Midgard. It should be a brand new setting because I think we're off the Halloween stuff. So 6:30 p.m. Central on my channel, Pixel Brother. Follows appreciated. Thank you.
Awesome. Links are in the chat. If you're watching this on YouTube later, check the show notes. You can see links to everyone's things. And Adam, what do you got going on?
Two things actually. We've had much joy, elation, and jubilation lately, as Chuck has agreed to join Grim Perilous Studios.
That's
So
right.
we're super happy about that. I'm really excited. And then tomorrow we'll be releasing Beyond the Fire, and that is a manual of monsters set for Flames of Freedom, and it is featuring the writings of Kenna Owe, who is writing about threats from across the Black diaspora. So that's going to be releasing tomorrow on ch03rpg, and you can always come to our website, which is in the link, because there will be announcement and official links to product there if you're interested in monsters from African folklore.
Very cool. Old Matty Two Arms, what do you got going on?
Woo, still got him. Still got him. Tomorrow night, you can join myself and Jeff and Melissa over on the Sirenscape Twitch channel, running an original Call of Cthulhu adventure there at 9 p.m. Central. Garblight Games on Thursday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Jeff's running us through Delta Green, where I'll probably lose my arms. And Jeremy's over there as well. It's fantastic so far. Day
I've
2,
already
we've really
killed
solved
somebody.
nothing. We're just going to die.
I
We're going to
killed
blow
somebody
something up
too.
every week. Yeah, no spoilers if you haven't watched it yet. Someone's died there already. And then Alien back on Sunday because Halloween's over on the Free League Twitch.
Yeah. Again, links are all there. And then Jeremy, you got anything going on, buddy? What's happening?
Yeah, I'm just having a good old time with you folks, and I'm going to try really hard not to die on Thursday. I'm going to make some good decisions.
That's cute.
A hospital where
Yeah,
it's
That's
gonna be
cute.
good.
I like to think that you. I like that you think that you're gonna get out of this adventure alive, this scenario alive. It's great. It's great. Okay, Melissa and I, we will be back. So in addition to the Delta Green game that Matt already mentioned on Thursday that I'm running on Garblag, I run a different Delta Green game on Friday. So we should be back. We're planning to be back for Impossible Landscapes this week. We've been off the past week or so for other things, other reasons, but I think we should be good to go. So we'll be back with Impossible Landscapes on Friday. We are starting up One Ring 2nd edition, but I think we're going to start on November 13th. We were originally going to start on the 6th, but we might push that back a week now. So you can come back on November 13th for that. And then next Monday, we'll be doing Ultraviolet Grasslands again. We unfortunately had a miss last week's session, but we'll get to it, and we'll figure out what happens with Joe's character, who has been kidnapped. And he's our muscle lancer. So we'll see what happens. But that's it. Thanks everyone who hung out. Thanks everybody who was watching this both live and later on YouTube. Catch everyone's awesome things wherever you can find them. I'm going to go ahead and raid someone right now. So it looks like Diesel Shot is up. So we'll go ahead and give them a raid. Looks like they're playing some Dungeons & Dragons. So hang tight, follow the raid, make us look good, and we'll see you next time. So bye-bye.